Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the San Jose Sharks, a team that have had a really long run of horrendous results, kind of talking about a lot of the lows, but some of the highs as well too for this season. So before we get started with that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. Being said, let's get on into it. So San Jose is not really a new team to being bad. They haven't made the playoffs in a while, but over the past 2 years going into the season, the results have been, again, even further bad in that regard, or they've dropped further, if you want to say that, as they had 60 points and then followed it up with 47 points, were the worst team in the league, and it was one of the worst seasons in San Jose's history. Good news is this team is set to actually improve in the standings, and that is good in that regard. More points is always a welcome thing for a team that is trying to work their way out of a rebuild, but I think at times too, you want it to be a significant jump, and it's not always that way. And for San Jose, kind of the same case here, as it'll probably be less than 10 points, and they are looking once again to finish bottom of the Pacific Division and have had a run of nearly 30 games where things have been bad. So how long have things been bad? The answer to that is kind of mixed. They started off the year in a very unconvincing fashion. It just was like a thump, and things just kept going bad, and then worse, and then even worse than that. They lost 9 in a row, which was disparaging because I talked about at the start of the season. Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith, Yaroslav Askarov, having a lot of these young names that are exciting. Some of them are in the top 5 for favorites to go out there and win the Calder. This could be a year where San Jose isn't perfect, but they are better. And then they just go out there and do that, and you're like, you're not making me look bad. You're making yourselves look bad. And I know, again, professional athletes aren't really trying to go out there and make themselves look bad, but I am not taking the blame for how the Sharks performed out on the ice in the first 9 games. But the thing is, they followed it up with their next 19 games, getting 10 wins, going 10-6-3, which was good for 8th in the league in points percentage. Just put that in perspective. Winless in their first 9 games, talking about could they break a record in a bad way, to then being a top 10 team in the league for nearly a quarter of the season. This is a San Jose team that just feels very San Jose-esque in that regard, where they'll put together a really long run that's like that and then fold up with what we're going to be talking about. And what we'll be talking about is their following 28 games. After that, they have just 5 wins, and that ranks dead last in the league. There was a point where the New York Rangers were kind of competing with them for like 24 games where things were bad, but the Rangers, of course, are in a better spot now. Meanwhile, San Jose 5-21-2 over the past 28. The team that is second closest to them is Chicago, so that's kind of comforting knowing another rebuilding team is also within striking distance, but it's not really true because the Hawks have 9 wins, nearly double what San Jose has. And again, it just is so weird in this way to realize that San Jose had 10 wins in 19 games and then 5 over the next 28. I know they're a bad team, and things will happen, and they will have that kind of run where things will fall off a little bit. But it is just weird, and there's a lot of numbers that don't really look great in this regard. They had a period where they allowed 19 goals in 3 games. They were back to back to back, 6 goals in every game. And I know we're talking about the empty net goal in 2 of those. Either way, they had some really rough losses. They had like a 7-5 loss, I think, to Nashville, and then they followed it up with another loss to Nashville in a back-to-back where they lost, I believe, 6-5. So a lot of goals being scored, and it is very fun as a non-San Jose fan. But, it's just very chaotic. It is messy. They have had at least 3 losing streaks of 3 games, not even just the ones that we'll be talking about additionally, but 3 ones that have been 3 games, and one of those is current as they're set to play the Dallas Stars at night. Then they had a 6-game losing streak and 8-game losing streak, all compiled into about a third of the season. So a lot of goals being scored against them. They had an 8-1 loss in this period as well too. It may not be as bad as last year, but there sure are a lot of moments where I think a lot of these fans are probably like, man, last year was, again, pretty gruesome, but it's not like this year is much better. And to paint the picture that we already envisioned, they have the worst goals for percentage over this period of play at 5-on-5. They have the second highest goals against per 60 on the PK. They have the second worst save percentage at all strengths. And then I think they have the highest goals against per 60 at full strengths over this, allowing nearly 4 goals against per 60 in this time, getting some along the way there. But yeah, those numbers, again, if you are near the bottom of the league in all of those categories, you have a feeling that you're not going to be picking up a lot of wins. I think for San Jose fans, while they didn't expect it, those are, again, stats that make you say, yeah, we were good at one point, and yet here we are. But I kind of want to shift away from that, though. Are there some positives aside from the fact that obviously they had a good run for 19 games? And the answer to that is yes, even during this period where they've got 5 wins in 28 games. And I'm actually really happy to share this as you have Macklin Celebrini, first overall pick. Calder contender. He has 24 points over his past 28 games. That is nearly a point per game. And I know, again, some people I think just really do not like the players that get taken high in the draft. We're seeing a lot of that with Connor Bedard. Again, I think that was a lot of hype. But with Celebrini, some people might say, well, 10 of those 24 points are on the power play. Yes, but you do realize San Jose is a bad team, and they aren't even a bottom 5 team in terms of fewest goals for per 60, or just goals for, I believe, on the man advantage for this 28-game run. If they didn't have Macklin Celebrini, who's to say that they wouldn't be even worse in that regard? And for the course of the year, barring, something odd happening, they look like they will probably see Celebrini actually lead the team in points, although mind you, that was part of another thing that was interesting there. But still, for a rookie like him to lead his team in points and to have a season where he could win the Calder, as well as I think have maybe a better year than some people are realizing, it is just good, I guess, to see where part of the direction might be for San Jose in the future. As for some other storylines, we could probably talk about something for the broader course of the season. William Eklund is set to have probably, again, another career year after having 45 points last year. Could we see him crack 60 points this year? I don't know. Is he going to be a big-time goal scorer? I don't know, but again, I think this is going to be a big step forward. You're seeing a player that had a minus 45 last year. It's at -8, and I don't really invest too much time in that, but I did want to highlight the fact that when he's been out there at 5-on-5 for this season, they've only been outscored 35-32 in that regard. That is a huge bonus. I was kind of worried that if I took a look at his power play stats, maybe that would kind of inflate things a little bit, but in that regard, at full strength, that's pretty good for a team that, again, has been giving up some abysmal numbers. So if Eklund can, again, be part of that future and be part of that step and actually build up and maybe be a better goal scorer in the coming years, again, another piece of that foundation for San Jose as they're trying to work their way out of this mess. But then another thing that you may be excited about, I really don't know for San Jose fans, because I think this kind of ties into a lot of rebuilding teams, Mikael Granlund, and then of course Cody Ceci traded away for a first-round pick and then a conditional fourth-round pick that becomes a third-round pick, I believe, if the Dallas Stars make it to the Stanley Cup final. I don't think they have to win it. I just think that they have to appear there. But if that's the case, you are getting assets for the future. And for a rebuilding team, what is Mikael Granlund and then Cody Ceci really going to do for you in the coming years for this rebuild? I can't say. But I do think that we oftentimes hear a lot of rebuilding friends just say that I am very frustrated. We have been rebuilding for a long time. I don't care about picks anymore. I care about results. But with the state of the team and just seeing where they have been for the course of the year, where they probably definitely won't crack 30 wins on the season, or it'd be unlikely, this is still a win in my book. A player like Cody Ceci really had his struggles even in Edmonton. So we'll see how things going to play out there as well too. Granlund was probably set to lead the team in points, but now that he's gone, Celebrini might be able to take that throne, if you will, from a guy that's not even in the locker room anymore. Now will all of this just gloss over what's been a really frustrating year for the fans? I'm going to say no, but there are positives with the negatives. I think for San Jose, this should still end up being a better year than last year. So keep your heads up. Maybe next year will be better if they can get out to a better start. They probably won't be a playoff team, but if they can just keep improving and then improving significantly, where it is maybe 10 plus points or something like that, where you say we feel a little bit closer to actually being a playoff team, that would be huge to get San Jose and, the Shark Tank ready to go for the playoffs once again. So anyway, what are your thoughts on San Jose for this season? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And Eagle of Hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.